So yes, Swedish Lapland Visitors Board has done an amazing work. We have something already tangible to start working on. But of course, we have seen this from the Swedish side, and now we want to take it a step further for the entire Arctic Europe. So as part of the Arctic Europe Tourism Cluster project, we have asked ourselves how we can turn these shared values into shared guidelines. What can a shared code of conduct look like? One that is rooted into the reality of Arctic life. I really liked somebody yesterday during the SPI workshop said the reality of the Arctic. What can it mean for us? So as a project, as you know, we are facilitators. We don't have all the answers, and we need to rely on expertise to help us move forward the work we're doing. So to help us with this project, we have teamed up with BehaviorSMART, a fantastic partner that uses behavioral science to help make sustainability effortless for travelers. To make this happen, you work, I see I'm looking at Gergana now already, Martina. To make this happen, they work with destinations and businesses to make small adjustments, both into communication but also into operations that lead to positive impact, but also enhancing guest satisfaction and why not reducing some of the costs. Please welcome on stage Gergana, Nikolova and Martina Bradacova from BehaviorSMART. They will walk us through how they work, and then they will be leading the next and last workshop for these events. Please welcome them warmly on stage.
Thank you so much, Alexia. It's really a great honor to be here. It is my first time to be so much north, and it's been really an incredible journey to see the dynamics, to see this interaction. And it was very interesting. Even yesterday during dinner we had a conversation that for us that are outside of this part of the world, we perceive the Nordics as a whole. At the same time, as every country, there are so many specifics. But at the same time, actually, naturally, you just feel closer to the region next to you compared to those that are south in your country. So it's really incredible to see how these common things bring us together, remove the administrative boundaries when this is possible, so that we can actually really take care of our precious places. As Alexia mentioned, my name is Gergana. I'm one of the co-founders of BehaviorSMART. I lived in the States doing my master's degree and working at one of the big hotel chains when I realized that where I really belong and where my heart is in Europe. And I returned back to Europe. I started working as a consultant, and my first, probably most significant project was actually bringing post-conflict countries together, so working in the Balkans, former Yugoslavia, the countries that were split. We started bringing people around the table, first being represented by the destinations, and the brave ones started joining the table. Several years later, we had 60 people in the room, being open to discuss how the Balkans can be promoted as a joint destination. It was an incredible experience, really opening the minds and the hearts of the local people that literally until some days ago and years ago, they were just traveling to each other without any borders and without any problems. And this has eased the challenges that they were facing. We were able to open borders, to facilitate and open borders for easier transfer for travelers between the countries. And actually, why were we doing this? It was to actually respond to the travelers' demand. When someone is coming from far away, they don't perceive these borders as an obstacle. They want to actually visit the region. And this is, I'm relating this to some extent to this part of the world where we perceive it as one region. And it's really incredible to see. I've been engaged with the region actually the past 10 years in my role being part of Adventure Travel Trade Association. I was regional director for Europe and Central Asia before I fully transitioned to BehaviorSMART. And it is how I got more working closer to the businesses. I understood most of the challenges that you face. I myself haven't worked as a tour operator, but I have really enjoyed hearing what are these daily challenges that everyone faces. And this is now with BehaviorSMART, what we are trying to do is to use psychology so that we can make your work easier. And actually, how we make it by navigating the traveler's behavior. So I'll pause here as it was a longer introduction, but I'm really emotional about being here and diving here and understanding more of what you do. I hope it will be a productive workshop where we're translating this incredible work that Swedish Lapland has done into a regional application and something that you own and something that comes very natural to how we can actually really take the traveler on the journey of being a better traveler. I'll pause and let Martina introduce herself, and then we will start with some of the science behind behavioral science.
Good morning, my name is Martina. And I have been to Norway before, and I must say you have the best sweets in the world. Troika and Quick Lunch. These are like the best things. I can talk about Norway. This is always how I start, and then talk more and more. And I always love coming back here. So I'm really happy to be here. Today is my first time not being in Norway, but experience the midnight sun. Very interesting. I woke up at 2 in the morning and really wanted to go for a walk. And I was like, no, sleep. I have experienced, my background started in international education development in Scotland, and then I slowly transitioned into sustainable tourism development, where I was working in the adventure travel sector, and I was also helping to develop climate action plans and destination stewardship plans before I transitioned into using behavior science into reaching these goals. I got very excited about it. This was the moment, that makes sense. Let's do this. And that's how I joined BehaviorSMART and started working on the projects. And I'm really happy to be here today and to create some magic together.
Thank you very much, Martina. So, as Alexia mentioned, we started our engagement with the project a couple of months ago, and we are to be in collaboration for the next about year. Now the idea is to engage you in what we want to create as a roadmap for how we can identify what are the golden behaviors that we see the travelers take and behave. What are these norms? Based on the workshop that we will do, I know that some of you will need to leave and catch flights, so we want you to, before the break, to take time and get your notes on some of the worksheets that we will be giving to you, so that while you're in highest season, we can actually digest that information and try to translate it into something common for everyone. So this is what we will be doing during the summer months. In the fall, we will be redefining and shaping this, and the idea is that next year we will have something more that it feels like a natural guidance for how you experience design, how you design experiences, how you communicate. And we're not looking, as Alexia mentioned, into something difficult and something that will require big investments, but small adjustments in tweaks in how you already work. Here we have a small exercise. If you can scan this QR code, we have 2 simple questions for you. So if we can change the slides. So we have 2 questions for you. The first one is to indicate what type of an organization you are. I hope that this will be working, as technology is not always our best friend. Okay. So it's more of a getting an idea of who is in the room. You know each other, most of you are getting to know more each other. It's so nice to see how it's moving. Mm-hmm. It's alive. Okay, very good. We can see that we have a very good mix of the whole supply chain. So it's fantastic to see that, and this is where, as Martina mentioned, the magic really happens. When we are supporting each other and not point fingers, oh, Martina, you are responsible for this. Well, if we hold hands, we can make this probably easier. So thank you for answering, and this is the last question. If you can indicate what are your ideal behaviors for the travelers. We have some suggestions, you don't need to follow these, but just think what you want to see as a behavior by your travelers. And you have multiple answers, so you can submit more than one answer. No wrong and right. Yes, it's showing up. We'll give another minute or so. I see 20 more typing, so wonderful. We see some mostly indicated extending the stay and be respectful for the nature. We know, and I think that we had a conversation that the freedom to roam is really an incredible, very local and signature part of the culture, which we know that also that sometimes is disrespected by internationals, and it's not because they don't want to respect, but they just don't have that. They don't grow with this culture. So we know that this is, from a behavioral perspective, it's a very interesting topic. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, and I think that here we have some very interesting answers, and we can see probably staying longer, extending the stay is something that we all want to see. Being respectful for the nature and having, yes, more using public transportation. So thank you so much for taking the time to answer these questions. And this will be helping also shaping the more interactive part of our conversation. So if we can go back to the slides, and I will start by introducing the behavioral science, introducing human behavior and why we should take this into consideration and what it means, human behavior, and what is the difference, behavioral economics from traditional economics. We will touch on how it works and what does choice design mean, and at the end we will get a little bit our hands dirty with some markers and worksheets so that we can start reprogramming towards the better behavior. So what makes insights about human behavior important? I will try, as I mentioned, am the business person. The scientist on the team is Milena. Some of you have seen her before. So she's the brain of the company. my role is to take this and make it easier for the businesses to understand. So usually she presents more in a scientific way. I'm trying to present in a practical way. So how do humans think and make decisions? If we are to go and buy a new coffee pot, and as we go and pay for it at the cashier desk, and we are told that actually there's a 10 euro less same coffee pot 3 blocks down the road, as if we are like most people, we will leave this one on the counter and actually walk these 3 blocks and go and buy the one that is cheaper. It's 10 euro savings. What is very interesting is that, let's say next week we're going and we have pre-selected a backpack. It's much more expensive. We go at the cashier desk and we are again told that 3 blocks down the road, it is 10 euro less. If we are like most people, we will actually not accept that offer and we will pay on the spot. And what's curious here is that it is the same 10 euro. It is the same 10 euro that we can buy candies for our kids or ice cream. It is the same 10 euro that we can use for paying our bills. And why are we treating these 10 euro in a different way in the different situations? Because the context that we make decisions are different. And when we are paying a much bigger amount, 10 euro look insignificant, but when we are paying a smaller amount, comparing it to what we could save, then we are actually going to make the effort. And this is where we realize how irrational we are when we are making decisions. And we have another example where scientists tested at the conference that if we are presented with 3 different coffee sizes, most people go for the middle size. It feels safer. It's not too much, it's not too little. The following day, the conference organizers switched the coffee sizes, so what the previous day was the largest size is today the middle size. And actually people again were going for the middle size, which means that we're not making a decision on how much caffeine we will get based on how much caffeine our body needs or how much we had, but we are going for the middle one. It feels like the safest option. So how can we use that knowledge into steering the traveler towards the decision that we want? And going to the science, it is based on how our brain works. We have 2 systems that help us make decisions. It is system 1, which is the fast thinking system. It helps us make decisions on the spot based on the context. System 2 is the one that the economists rely on, the traditional economists rely on. And it is the one where we take all the information, we gather insights from different sources of information, we analyze the information, and based on this, we make the right decision for us. The reality is, nowadays, the lives that we have is we're constantly presented with options that steer us towards certain decisions. And we are more and more inclined to make decisions on the spot without taking all the information into consideration. So if in the past we were making decisions about our experiences and our travels based on collecting information, speaking with our colleagues, speaking with the other families, now on the phone we see this OTA presenting something very cool, and now you have the option to book it with this special price and so on. You are just making the decision on the spot. It looks so appealing, you don't want to miss it, so you book it on the spot. So we need to understand that now it's not about people wanting to be making wrong decisions, but everything, all the context, the entire environment around us is set for us to make quick decisions. And again, it's not bad, it's just accepting it. And how do we use that information so that we actually understand, even if I am recycling at home, everything, and I am avoiding plastics, if I am here, and if here around the table were provided plastic water bottles, most everyone would have opened it and drink, because this is the context. And it's not that we want to be bad people, but this was what was in front of us. So it is science, and science helps us understand these decisions, and we need to take this into consideration. And I'll pass it to Martina for some more, taking this more into the travel industry as examples. Sorry.
Okay, so I will now try to translate what you have learned through the theory of behavior science and how the human brain works, that the context really matters in how we make the decisions, and I'm going to translate it into the context of the travel. I want to start with this slide where I think all of you can relate. The sort of being a host versus making guests behave. You know that feeling, you know that tension, trying to balance being a good host, but also knowing that the presence and the way how guests engage with your surroundings can leave many different ways of a footprint behind. As a great host, you want to welcome everyone and you want to invite people to explore your culture, nature, surroundings, your home. But at the same time, you're facing the challenges which are linked to the negative impact of the traveler's presence, and you know that something needs to be done about that. So let's do a little bit of reality check. Why do people travel? Why do we travel? Is it because we want to leave the graffiti of our negative footprint behind? No, we want to have great memories. We want to come recharge here and then bring all those memories and the new energy back and talk about it and really still live it when we are back. But once we realize that this is the main goal of everyone who comes here, once we understand more, and now we all do, how the human brain works, we can put that all in our hands and create that magic where we help our visitors to create experiences which leave positive impact on their memories, but also on your businesses and on your communities. So how do we go about that? Magic of hosting. I really like the word of magic, and now you will learn that you all already are magicians. And imagine that you want to invite someone and host for a dinner at your own home. So what was the main goal? Again, have great time, socialize, eat together. What you also do, that in advance, you inform them in a way with certain information to make sure that they arrive on time and they don't get frustrated by getting lost and that they actually arrive. So you give them information, Google Maps. Also, you can tell them, look, it's going to be rush hour. Don't come by car. It's much easier to come by public transport because we have really good links. Or if you want to take a walk, you can have a really nice detour through this park or a beautiful part of our town. And then they arrive, you welcome your guests. And if you want to, you tell them you can take your shoes off here. Here we have slippers. I come from Czech Republic, and this is our norm, slippers to everyone. And then you guide them to the bathroom. You can wash your hands here. Once you get to the dining room, you say, you can sit wherever you want. Here is the seat which is mine, because it's the closest to the kitchen, and I'll be serving you the meal. So this is where I sit. You can sit wherever you want. And the night goes so on. What we have done here, that we made sure that they arrived to our place the best way they could. They had a great time, relaxing experience. And also, by just subtly pre-designing those choices for them and giving that information, we helped them to make the better decisions without adding any friction. And they had a great time, maybe even better. Because if they came by car and had drinks with us, what would happen? They would either be very naughty and drive home, or they would start thinking, what am I going to do now with the car? So we help them to have a better experience. What happens in travel industry? We invite everyone to our home, allow them to walk with their shoes on our carpet, even if it's a white carpet. And then we allow everyone to sit wherever they want because of the wrong assumptions of the traveler thinking that they have the right to do whatever they want. I want to give you another example of why choice design matters and the importance of the context with that. Everyone knows Google, one of the most successful tech agencies, and they invest $20 billion every year for the choice design to make Google as the default search engine on all new Apple devices. $20 billion per year. So they can see the importance of the context in the choice design. Another example is from the car industry, and that's where crashes happen, injuries happen. So they invented seat belts. Things will get better. Not really, because not everyone was putting seatbelt on, and now you all know it, the ding, 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 ding. I don't know how many dings you can last. I'm 4 and I'm buckled. So, with that, what I want to show you here, that they took the responsibility into their hands and decided for the for the driver or the passengers to buckle up and become more safer. Still giving them the choice. You don't need to buckle up if you don't want to, but you will be listening to this annoying noise, so rather people buckle up and good. So again, I wanted to show with this how important the context is. And that what happens when, if the car industry took this into their hands, we can do that same in the travel industry. So the choice design is no more about nice to have, and even if the travelers have the intentions to be good traveler, but it's actually on us. And the choice design is something to must have, because it helps us to program our operations and services and the supply ecosystems for desired behaviors.
Thank you very much, Martina. So I hope that this makes sense, and now we can see other industries are actually have been using behavioral science for quite some time. And now we want to take that safety responsibility for our places to make sure that we protect them. So how can behavior change work for us, and how we can do it? Martina already mentioned that travelers go on a vacation for their own experience. And come on, we've been good citizens for 50 weeks of the year, and then we go on a trip for 2 weeks. And someone tells us, don't do this, you're a bad person because you're traveling, because you're flying, you're a bad person because you're not hanging your towel. It doesn't work. It puts a barrier. At least those 2 weeks, please don't make me feel guilty. Don't try to pressure me. I'm a good person the other 50 weeks. So how do we take that and flip this into a positive experience? This is what we are talking about, that magic of choice design. So I know that it is a norm pretty much everywhere in the Nordics now that changing the towels is not something that happens on a daily basis. I can tell you that this is not the case in most parts of the world. And actually, this is where a lot of energy, detergents, and water are being used. So these are some of these examples how we can make it easy for the traveler by flipping the default, just like Google did. What is the default option? And we still let, in our case, in the travel industry, we still let the traveler ask for fresh towels every day, but the default option is not to change them. So we can actually really take care. And I know that these may sound like, how significant it is. Data says it is very significant. We mentioned about, again, big respect to Swedish Lapland with the code of conduct. It's really impressive how, actually 2 years ago, I was in Hokkaido with Swedish Lapland Tourism Board when I read about the Arctic Europe Code of Conduct, and was really impressed how really this has been taken and broken into the different components of behaviors. And in this case, it's not that people don't want to be better when they come, but they don't know what is the norm and what is the local food. Yesterday, I learned so much about what are the local options, and if it wasn't for someone to guide me about it, I would be lost. And you know, when we arrived, what did we do with Martina? We were not good visitors. We went for a pizza just because I didn't have any information here. How can we go and get something local to eat? And we were starving, so
We were hungry.
yes. I even didn't think until I said it. Sustainability, we know there's so much information, and it gets even more complicated. Thank you, EU, for all these green claims and CSRD and the requirements and so on. And it will continue getting complicated. But it is also simple to make these first steps to be a better business and to be a better destination. There are many small things to avoid that overwhelming feeling. So, and again, also, as Martina said, what are these moments where we can remove that friction from being that trigger negative impacts? Now, again, going through just putting this into a little bit more practice. We do want to, when we travel, we want to be better travelers. It makes us feel good. And again, science says, and we have data, that if actually I go on a trip and I don't make the effort to be a better traveler, but at the end I'm told that it was a more responsible experience because 70% of the meals that we had were locally sourced, and in most times we used public transportation. Of course, we know it's not possible everywhere. Actually, my feeling of the experience becomes much higher, especially that I didn't make the effort. So the idea is we want to be good, but we just want it to be very easy. We want to prioritize on the experience over sustainability, and we can make choices based on really making them very appealing. So what do we want to say with this? Instead of expecting the traveler to make this based on preparing for their experience, which has been in most cases the case, we want this to be embedded in the supply, in what you offer, in how you shape that. And everyone, the reason why we asked who is in the room and what types of organizations you represent, it is that everyone has a role in this. And a simple example is when I am dreaming of going to the Nordics, and the tourism boards are the ones that very often have different campaigns. And if they make me aware that in the fall it's pumpkin season, it is very likely that that seed, not pumpkin seed, but concept, is planted in my head. And if I am planning my experience for the fall, when I come in the fall, I will be searching for such experiences. And when we checked in with Martina, if there were some posters of this is specialty of the season, and I had some information at the front desk with some locally sourced, with restaurants with local products, we would have gone in that direction. So this is the idea of where we are saying how we can flip this into a supply-driven approach. So before we go more, we have probably another 10 or so minutes, 15 minutes max, before we get into the worksheets. I want to pause and just have some time for questions, reflections, thoughts, objections. Does that make sense? Okay, that's good. Any reflections? Okay, Nina? Yes, sorry. Yes. here. I didn't have enough coffee, so that...
Well, maybe if you repeat what I say, then it's on the recording as well. I think this resonates really well by kind of thinking that nobody wants to be not respectful, whether it's nature or culture or local or something. But if we make it easy, do they know how to be respectful? So, for example, buying souvenirs from a place you visit.
Ooh, I'll whisper in your ear. So, does the customer know what is local handicraft, for example? If we offer that by default, yes, then it's easy to make the right choice and buy the local handicraft. If what is offered is made in China and something that has the same print, whether it's New York or Kirkenes, then it's much easier to make the wrong choice. So if we need to kind of clarify for them what is the respectful way, what is the right way in practice, so that it's easy for them.
Thank you. So we don't have the mic. We have one more comment here. And question. Sorry?
I can speak up. It's no...
I think that it's for the recording. No? So I will... You can speak on the mic so that I don't get... Yeah.
Looks complicated. First of all, thank you. It resonates really, and I have to say that don't feel guilty about the pizza, because pizza is the national food in Norway.
Yes,
so it's local, unfortunately. I'm coming from visit Lyngenfjord, which is close to. So I change to another microphone. Close to Tromsø, and Tromsø and probably Rovaniemi are the real hotspots of tourism in the Arctic, and I think that one thing of being a good host and being selective of who you invite is there is one complication, is because the number of hosts are so huge there, and how they act towards regarding the sustainability is really different. So some are really responsible and think of this, and others couldn't care less. So how to communicate within the industry to be a good or the right host is more important than, or it's even more important than how to communicate out to our guests.
Thank you. Very, very good point. And it is the challenge in many places. And that's the idea why we want this coming from... we need to turn it off? Okay. We need to spread that approach to most of the businesses. And there needs to be a better understanding. Yes, we make money today, but tomorrow this may not exist. And if also for the businesses, it doesn't require big changes, and you need to restructure the company. And actually, I must be very honest, we use redesign and reprogram as a term, and we're very afraid of that because it's these are very heavy words, and we haven't figured out what word to use so that it's understandable, because while we are doing redesign, these are actually very small adjustments. So the idea is to engage everyone in as much as possible, and the example of us now getting into this round table and then continue spreading that bug of ease of changing the default option or adjusting the offering so that we can actually take the traveler in that direction. I know it sounds easier than said, but especially in this case, when we have also the tourism boards and the destination being on the table, and they can influence also to some extent policy design, we are able to influence and to get those that are the not believers more closer. And it is business. So if we actually see that by optimizing those processes, we can actually reduce the costs. This money can go to actually enhancing the guest experience. And anyways, because you've made the traveler feeling better, by redesigning and you have higher reviews, it's very likely that those that were like this on the table actually after that will follow. And we've seen that happening. So it's a slow process. It's exhausting sometimes when you feel like you're alone on the boat, but I think that from what we understand, this group of movers and shakers is much bigger, and this time you are here. Next time it will be probably some of you will not be able to join, but the rest of the businesses will be able, and it's a movement, and this is how we introduce that change. Really speaking more and more about these small adjustments. It's not something difficult. We are to some extent hacking the system and spreading that and not being afraid that sharing this as an approach actually will harm our business. But it can actually, because if you're offering something that impacts my business, I prefer that I help you, even if we don't partner. But I mean, you're right next door, and if you have, let's be extreme, trash in your yard, it impacts my travelers. One of our clients is an Italian tour operator. They are offering experience along Via Francigena Trail. And they're an outdoor adventure responsible tour operator. Those accommodations along the trail, they have business all year long. They don't care about being plastics free, but it impacts that operator's reputation. And these are the only properties that they can use along the trail. So now we are going through an activity where we are introducing these simple changes in how the hotels operate so that it's easy for them to change and start the transition from being plastics first into opting out for zero plastics. It's a journey. Yes. One more question?
Well, it was actually not a question, more a comment. But I agree with you, Mats. It's not easy. But the good thing is that we are all here now. And if we are able to make some guidelines that gives value, hopefully that could be a start of a type of movement. I don't know, but let's be a bit. Let's put a vision into this. But I also wanted to. I was thinking that, for example, yesterday when we visited the Radius Kirkenes, a good thing. Did you recognize that? That what they sold in the reception area was only local producers. Mm-hmm. So they have actually taken a step into what we are talking about now.
Exactly.
Which is interesting. It was only local producers. Thank you.
Introducing also the local culture. So yes, absolutely. Okay, we will have another moment of reflection, and then we will get into the worksheets. So putting this into practice, how can the code of conduct really encourage good behavior? And now this is where we are getting into. So I gave the example of plastic water bottles around the tables at the conference room, but this is also valid if I'm coming from, actually the example I'll give with myself. I was in India for 10 days. Several months ago, and I was super proud to actually not use a single plastic bottle. This wasn't the case the first time I went there, and I'm usually drinking 3 liters a day, and we were always provided half a liter bottle. So it was very painful for me, but I needed water, and I was drinking plastic water bottle. This was 2018. Now I managed to not use, because as I was preparing for the trip, our partners, and it was a leisure trip, so business and leisure, told us, get your water bottle. You don't even need a filtered water bottle, because everywhere we go, there are filtered stations where you can actually refill your water bottle. So it was the design of the trip made possible. It did not require me to make an effort. How I'm okay, not first time, but I am new in India, and I won't be going to look for filtered waters. I am relying on the local partners, and if I had to make the effort, I will be opting for the plastic water bottle. It is the same also for local buying, just as Nina mentioned. Unless I'm presented what are the local products, I'm most likely, okay, I want to bring something. What happens most times, unfortunately, you go and buy from the airport and you just buy anything that says the place where you have visited. So how do we bring this closer and easier? I was last year at an event like this, and actually the local tourism board brought the gift shop with local products to the conference at the closing event, and they were telling a story of each of these souvenirs. They brought 3 or 4 things, I think it was. But it was like, oh, I want to buy all of these, and just bringing it closer to us instead of me buying last minute. So this is the idea. Think about how the traveler is on a boat and they're going down the stream, and everything goes easy. When we are expecting the traveler to be a better traveler, it is almost like expecting them to be on a kayak against the stream. So I hope that this is also an easy illustration that, again, things are in our hands. So this is where we say programming the choice moments. How we can break the whole journey into small moments where the traveler decides where to eat, what to buy, how to understand about the local place. Do I go now and jump in the water? Well, probably I will be going to the hospital because my body is not used to that temperature. Martina is ready to do the midnight sun diving.
Swim.
I'm not. And where are these choice moments that we as the supply can actually influence the traveler? And now this may look a little complicated, but actually we have the solution. And now Martina will give examples how these techniques have been used and what results we have produced by tackling these negative behaviors or facts, how people make decisions, and actually how using behavioral approach, using different techniques, we can actually take the traveler towards the right decision. So, Martina?
Yes. So I assume that you are guessing what's happening at the workshop, that you are turning into designers, magicians, reprogrammers, hackers, call it whatever you want. You will wear all those hats, and I want to give you some more examples how this has actually worked, that someone has done this and it has some great impacts. These will be 5 examples from one of the projects we have done in the past where we worked with different stakeholders within the supply chain in Slovenia, in Italy, in France, and in Norway. And the first example is coming from Slovenia, where we worked with the accommodation providers in the Julian Alps, which is really popular area, especially for outdoor adventurers. And they have been facing challenges with the over-tourism. So they ask us to help them. How can we spread the visitors to a less-known locations? What we have done that we worked with the little accommodation providers, small accommodation providers, and we helped them to design information leaflet where there were just three unknown spots, and they were written in very nice, appealing, interesting way. And then when the guests arrived, they were introduced to these options. You can also visit these. What happened was that actually 100% of visitors visited at least one of those spots. So that's a really great result, how making something appealing and at the right timing, when they arrive, can make a huge impact on the over-tourism and how you spread your visitors. I am taking you now to Italy. And in Italy, what happened, we worked again with accommodation providers who wanted to minimize that the guests will be using taxis whilst they are visiting the area. Also, one of the reasons is that the city streets were just not designed to cope with that much of the taxis, and that also has the impact on the whole appeal of the destination. So, in an easy, because maps can be complicated, in a very easy way, and again appeal was put all over, we created a map, how they can move around, either by foot or by public transport. And also what we did, on that map, we put some extra secret hidden spot where you can eat locally, where you can visit something. And this actually led into almost 70% of the visitors using the map and exploring the area in a way that they were actually, at the end, really happy and more satisfied because they realized, oh, if I took a taxi, I would miss this out. So again, it had a great impact on the experience and more of the usage of the public transport or walking around. Let's go to Norway. We'll just stay now in Norway with the examples. This is near Tromsø. And we worked with the boutique hotel and the farm to fork restaurant, where we wanted to save for the costs of the energy use. We wanted to drop that down. So what happened in the summer month, that by default, the temperature was set lower in the rooms as a default option by using the smart communications, and the guests, they were informed about this. This is the temperature which usually is in the rooms here. Here are the warm socks in case you're cold, and here you can make a hot chocolate. What happened that 24% of guests, they did not change the temperature. They did not raise it. Even they still had the option to do that. That was the device, but they stuck to it and perhaps put the socks on if they needed to. Recycling. Somewhere it can be very straightforward, and somewhere the system is a little bit more complicated, which people are not used to it. So this was at the camping site, also near Tromsø, and what happened was that the guests, they were not separating the waste as it was prepared for them with the different types of bins. They were putting all the waste in just the general bin. And the waste collection company refused to pick it up and collect it. So what happened that one unfortunate member of staff had to be actually deselecting the trash from the general waste and redistributing it, so the collection company will actually take the rubbish away. What we did, that we raised awareness amongst the guests, how they can separate it by designing simple signage with the stickers, where we explained this is what you can put there and what you cannot put there. So this led in 38% of reduction of the waste into the general bins. No more sad member of staff having to do this not very pleasant job, and the trash has been now collected. So this is the power of raising awareness. And now in Swobo, there is an outdoor activities provider, and they had the desire to reduce the plastics when they were providing the packed lunches on the go in the nature. So they decided to provide warm local dish, and they made it as an option to choose for the travelers. You can either choose this, or you can have a packed option. But the locally prepared warm meal, that's the option. So what happened was that in the first year, 76% they opted for this option. They had a much greater experience. And now the outdoor provider actually set this as a norm. So the next year, they decided to provide just the warm local lunches. And now this is the norm, no more option for the choice. So now imagine like I told you examples from different points of the traveler's journey along the way. So imagine that every traveler who comes is encouraged to opt to the local and to the seasonal dish. And they are steered away from the hotspots to a little bit less known places and less visited places. And they are also encouraged to leave no trace and to leave the place better off than when it was. So then, in that case, then we will have a destination supply chain that is programmed for a good behavior by default. And now, how that applies to the code of conduct, we will be all creating together. I'll pass this to Gay.
Thank you. So we will take the next 15 minutes to work on the worksheet. So I will ask Alexia if she can spread the sheets. But while she does that, I want to ask, how does that feel? How any reactions, questions before we start thinking about the golden behaviors of travelers coming to our homes, basically? Any questions, reactions? Feels comfortable? Natural? Okay, that sounds good. Yes, thank you. Sorry, just give me 1 second to get the microphone. Yes, thank you. Probably down.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm just sitting here and thinking about all the power that we do have all together in making a huge difference. Visit Arctic Europe Tourist Cluster, in making it together.
Yes.
How much it can have a huge effect of our environment.
Thank you. Yes. So that's the idea, to really take us out of the mode where it's overwhelming, but actually we hold these magical straws of opportunities, and yes, it is in our hands. So thank you for that reflection. Any other reflections? Yes, you have? Alexia? Okay.
To ask as well.
Absolutely. Please.
I'm thinking a little bit out loud, and I'm very fascinated by the presentation and this topic in general. We are simple people, after all, and easy to trick sometimes. And I have a question, because what we are trying to do a positive impact, positive changes. But sometimes we have travelers, I have been working close also with the public coming to visit us, and when they perceive that we are doing something different, even if it is a positive impact for the destination, but if they suspect even slightly that we are cutting a cost, for example, I was thinking about the temperature, right? Or maybe something, and I'm saying this because I have gotten it as an impact, some people feel tricked that we are doing it because then we are sparing money, and they associate it with a negative impact. Instead of saying, you know, the destination or the company is trying to do something positive, they feel that the value of their money is not okay anymore.
Yeah.
And this, I feel, it's a little bit probably because of poor experiences in the past, or because we are skeptical by nature. I'm not really sure. So have you experienced this, and how would you reply to somebody saying, oh yeah, you're not cleaning the rooms every day because, you know, you're sparing money, or it's cold in the room because you're, and so on. So, thank you. Great reflection. And yes, that's why it's not only about communicating, but it's how we communicate, and we provide the information. And even, I will be very honest, it's easy to speak about regenerative, responsible, sustainable travel in this part of the world. Big part of the world doesn't care. And this is the harsh reality. So we are trying to onboard them into this approach by saying you can optimize your costs, and actually
in order to not be sounding cheap, you can actually relocate those savings into enhancing the experience or putting the money into a different pocket which will sustain your business. Sustainability, it doesn't happen unless there's like environmental sustainability. It does not happen unless there's financial sustainability. So we need to be communicating the right information, and that's where the magic happened with saving the energy. We introduced it as a local norm, and I can tell you, when I arrived here, I was cold in my room, and I was trying to figure out, I shared with a few people, I was trying to figure out how I can make it warmer. I couldn't figure out, I was cold. It was an unpleasant experience the first few hours. I adjusted. And in this case, what we help the accommodation do is introduce the local socks, and this is how local people get warmer. If your feet are warm, your body is warmer. So having communication, not educating the traveler, but communicating it through awareness and a little bit of sense of humor is where the traveler gets the aha moment. Another example which we didn't give here, again, it was from Slovenia, is by introducing how they can adjust the temperature again in the room. Actually, people were paying more attention to the signs. As we know, people don't read. I'm sure all of you are frustrated. It was in 3 of your emails. People don't read. But we helped make simple communication in an attractive way. And we don't only help this accommodation save energy, but we help them also reduce maintenance costs 80%. And I didn't know that. That was a side effect. And we were on a stage with that tourism board who shared that. I jumped on the stage. 80% reduction of maintenance costs because of appealing signs. There is magic. It's how we address how people perceive the information. So it is very important when we are communicating to use the right words so that it's not perceived as, oh, you're cheap, but actually it's adding to the value of their experience. Yeah. Any other comments, questions? We would like to get this incredible toolkit into action for the entire region. And actually what we did is we split these norms that also were mentioned earlier by Annika to the different groups. So each of these norms is at least once, or actually at least 3 times in the room, in your worksheets. So we are taking the norms, and this is what your sheets look like. It will be in 2 phases, the exercise. First, we will start by understanding what does that norm mean and what are the ideal behaviors reflecting on these. We have pre-filled some of the circles to help the conversation going. If there are not enough circles, feel free to write anywhere around. Probably we will need help with some markers. And then this is what we would like to take and to have you focused on the next about 20 minutes. You can start now. In about 10 minutes, we will let you know. You can go grab coffee during the fika. You can continue working. Again, we know that you are taking a flight, but we want your ideas at least written so that we can after that digest and work on what that means further. So take this further. This is the first part of the exercise. Think as a group, and there's no right and wrong. The second phase of the exercise is, does that happen, why it happens, and why it doesn't happen. But think about the first one. So what does that norm mean, and what are the ideal behaviors reflecting on this norm? So 10 minutes, and you can start working on this. Questions? Okay. Thank you so much. Enjoy.
And staff members of the companies also respect the staff members. They are here for you, but not below you. We are living in a non-class societies. And yeah, same with the fellow travelers, also on our paper.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Here.
So we also wrote down the one that the previous two groups said about respecting each other's homes and space, but we also want to add on to don't join private weddings, private events like a Sami wedding. You have heard about it and then you go into the church, but that's not a place where you should be. So just respect all parts of our lifestyle up here. To make it a part of showing our Arctic mode, that this we do by heart, also here, that we welcome the fellow human beings and we respect each other. And have an open mind. This is our local culture. It can be very different from yours. It can be so that, yes, we say hello to everyone we meet. And that's a part of our culture, because we are friendly and open.
Wonderful.
So thank you for hosting us in Finnmark in this beautiful nature. It has been really fantastic and giving us lots of energy, right, Andrea? But we were also very sad to see that you are also facing the fact that we see all around in the world that in your beautiful beaches, the plastic is floating out, and that doesn't belong here. It doesn't belong in the sea. But how can we make a difference without pointing fingers, even that we want to point in the whole hand and the bad finger? But to raise the respect of the nature, and how can we do that in the power that we actually have if we do it together in the project, and to spread the effect? And we saw a really good example that can be developed in Vardø. Do you have the picture? This was sadly only in Norwegian, but how can we have the CR code to have it translated into different kind of languages, really to understand the effect of what you are throwing into the water really will be there for so many years, and also what you are throwing into the water, how many years is it take for each thing, and it's not coming up. Have you seen the communication, some of you, in Vardø?
Nope.
No.
I am not. At least I am not.
I have it on my phone, but it's difficult to share and translate everything into English. But just a second. The sign that shows how many years it takes for paper to break down, and milk boxes, blink boxes, plastic, and different kind of plastic, and plastic boxes is 50 to 80 years, and isopor. What's isopor in Norwegian? Yeah, it takes 1,000 years. So how can we really raise the awareness together in order to really change and make a difference?
Yep.
So please, we can send this photo out in one way and another, because it was giving me a bigger understanding, even though I don't throw the plastic into the water. But
it gives
was
you
a
enough
good example that we can develop further.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It definitely
Thank you
gives
so
you
much.
the data based on which you can communicate, again, without pointing the fingers. Okay, the next, we were going through the respect your fellow human beings. Travel safely, and did I miss anyone? Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry. Yes? Okay, the next one. So, yes, travel safely and securely. So,
okay. I think, or we think, that this is mostly about information and communication. So how to ensure and measure if the customers have the given information and they have received it, understood, and acted on it, or will act on it. And we were discussing that mostly tour operator customers, they do get all the information, but they don't read it. They don't have the time or energy or willingness to read it. And when you compare it to individual travelers, they kind of have to get the information and also read and act on it. So the knowledge is somewhat missing on like it says, travel insurance, awareness of travel rules, preparing with appropriate gear and clothing. So we agree on those that there is information and they will get it, but somehow they are missing that. And that can also be country-specific or nationality-specific segmentation on the information. So that could be something that the tour operators and companies need to look at. Mm-hmm. And also planning the trip before the customers kind of plan or act on it. So service planning and operational planning and risk management needs to be done by the companies. There's a new kind of problems out there, like problems on the roads because of the extreme weather conditions. Cars and buses and taxis get stuck on the roads, and there's no food or water in the cars and buses. So the tour operators are responsible also for this to prepare the buses for these kind of things. These are new things on the road, and you have to remember that the traveler, they are on a holiday mode, so they will forget their driving licenses and phones and money and everything. So yeah, there's a lot of things to that. We talked about the QR codes again with this. There's problems at the airport when they're renting the cars. They don't really have the time to listen to the safety regulations or instructions. So let's give them something that they can read or listen in the car while they're driving to their holiday, and hoping that they will get the information there. And in the end, we are thinking that travelers, the aim for all of this should be that they need to think and act like they are at home when traveling, which is of course complicated because they are on a holiday. But kind of what you said before, like it's or Annika said it's our home, but it should be also their home and respect it in a way it is. But that's anything to add? All good?
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The other groups, okay? Okay.
Okay, about visitors travel safely and securely. You said many good things. I just add some that we discussed. That visitors listen to security guidance and local specialists. For example, if people come and want to go up on Sweden's highest mountain, Kebnekaise, the weather conditions are really bad, then listen to what the specialist said, that it's not good to go up on the mountain today, you shouldn't, the mountain is closed, then do this instead. So they have options to offer, and also that is attractive. Because people, when they come, they have maybe been looking forward to do this 1 year, like since 1 year back. Mm-hmm. So we need to provide them with different alternatives. We were also talking about this safely and securely traveling, like lack of good roads. Mm-hmm. So I think many of you can agree about like driving on gravel roads, bumpy roads can be complicated and cause problems for the travelers. And most of the time the companies can't affect it because the bad roads are usually put on the municipalities. Mm-hmm. So it's up to them to like take action and help with arranging better roads. We were also talking about driving, for example, in winter condition can be a problem. Many don't have the skills to drive and don't have these like self-insights. Mm. Maybe think they can drive but don't have the knowledge to do it. Then it's important that we have the right information before they drive, so they choose the right kind of transportation, especially in the winters. Then it's according to the roads, the weather, and also the wildlife, since we have many like reindeers, mooses, and everything running out on our roads. Yes, I think that's it. Do you have anything?
This is great. And we have here this table. It's amazing. So many good behaviors that
we also agreed on the ones that already were here, but a little bit of like concrete. It says here that visitors come prepared with appropriate gear and clothing. That's not always the most sustainable thing, that a person from Italy comes fully prepared for winter conditions and then they leave it behind. So again, companies can rent clothing to their customers, or companies can also collaborate with other companies that rent clothing. Not every company has to have their own gear. Then visitors are mindful of specific landscapes, wilderness and weather conditions, and also wildlife. Like when you see a wild reindeer on the streets, and it's not okay to approach it and go pet it. It's not a pet. And then visitors take care and drive carefully in Arctic conditions, or hire a driver, or maybe put a little bit of pressure on the municipalities and counties to add more public transportation as well. And then we had this idea of rental cars. There are a lot of them in the areas, and maybe they should be better visualized as rental cars, maybe bigger stickers indicating that they are rentals. It's safer for the drivers, that everybody around them knows that, okay, maybe this driver might not be as familiar with the conditions as I am. So it creates this environment that is safe for both the locals and the tourists driving the rental cars.
Wonderful. Fantastic. Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then last but not least, the be an informed traveler. And I feel some of these comments, and that's the magic. We have these norms as separate norms, but they're so integrated and one leads to the other. So can we hear the groups that had this norm, be an informed traveler? What are the behaviors?
I'll show now the lazy behavior, and I'll just not move and just pass
it.
Well, the ones that already were written down were visitors inform themselves about local regulations, restrictions, and good norms of behavior. I think this has already been covered quite extensively already. Visitors prioritized experiences and attractions beyond the most popular places and times. I don't think we really talked about this, but I believe we agree. And then visitors respect privacy and private property. This is very important because we already have examples of this not happening. Tourists peeking outside of locals' windows, not a pleasant sight. And then for the visitor information, we thought that it needs to be visualized in some other format than just text, and this was already talked about earlier, and maybe even in video format, because every day in today's day and age is watching TikToks and Reels, and that's maybe the format that reaches the people nowadays. And then I think most of us work with B2B, so we need to educate the tour operators as well. We are not always able to reach the individual customers when we do bookings with the companies. And then this is a message for all the DMOs. Maybe you should sort of collect from your companies these frequently asked questions. Ask them, what do the tourists ask of you? And then collect this sort of answer page where you answer all of these frequently asked questions. And this can then be a resource for the companies as well. When they get asked these questions again and again and again, they can link it directly to the DMO's page, and here are the answers for the questions you are asking. That's it for us.
Brilliant.
Love it. Thank you. Who else? Still can be lazy. Thank you.
So we would like to add also that visitors research a bit about where they're coming. I think that was mentioned so that it's not a surprise for them, their Arctic weather and also polar night, that it's dark and they don't complain about that. Also, visitors understand their rights, the right to roam, all men's right, and they don't go on private yards to watch Northern Lights. Visitors know about accessibility of activities and accommodation that they are visiting, so how accessible they are and if they actually can go there. And visitors understand the local culture, that's very important, and opt for local handicraft and souvenirs, not ones made in China, but like real ones made locally. And the last one would be knowing and searching for legally operating companies. And I would add also, if that's possible, buy directly, not through booking.com or Get Your Guide, but directly from the supplier.
Mm-hmm.
I want to add something to what they said on the other table about putting the information more than written and putting on videos and TikToks and Reels. But TikToks and Reels are not always accessible for everybody. Like deaf people won't be able to understand a Reel that has voiceover and doesn't have any text. And then a blind person might won't see any image. But they say, so in all, not choose one format, but keep information in all formats. Videos and text and images. And that one, you reach everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Great. And we have next to you again.
Perfect.
That was easy.
Who would like to talk? Thank you.
Yeah, we have also some behaviors that we think that coming naturally if the guests are informed, and one of those things that will happen is that they will act more respectful for the local culture and local law and regulations. So there will be less friction, and the locals will also be more happy for having visitors. When they are informed, they will do an effort to reduce footprints. There will be, you will see effects like reduced amount of litter, better off doing recycling by themselves. Yeah, they will also have focus on helping local businesses in growing. Be aware of where they put their money. So yeah, and they will also have be aware of what to choose when it comes down to travel, choosing the right kind of transportation so they leave less footprints, and yeah, also choosing the right kind of activity providers.
Thank
Wonderful. Do we have
and one thing for
sorry.
the trails and activities, that enough information, because not all the trails are for everybody, or not all the activities are suitable for everybody, so that information also is important.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Is there a fourth group, or it was 3 groups? I think it was 3. Okay. Wonderful. Fantastic. I was taking notes. Obviously, it is there written. We will be taking notes. We will be summarizing. As I said, we won't be bored during the summer months, but was also taking notes to start digesting immediately. Really great ideas, and I think that something that was mentioned even at the opening, how we have perceived ourselves in the past as competitors. I think all these ideas now help us understand how important it is to see ourselves as collaborators, and to be able to have joint offerings and to have that journey building on each other, because really that reprogramming that we were talking about is about how the tourism board can raise awareness about the local culture and the local food and the local norms, but after that it is every business has a different touch point, and if they're not using a guide and a tour operator locally, an activity provider, the accommodation provider, and we were talking how the Airbnbs even can be engaged in that process. They don't really care about it, but at the end, we tend to leave a negative impact, even if it was not because of our stay, but, you know, I broke my foot because I didn't know and I went in the mountains with flip-flops. We know that happening. So how do we engage the supply chain to inform and to raise that awareness and really to be holding hands? So it's really fantastic, all these ideas and building on each other. I want to take the next about 15 minutes for you to build. Some of you have already thought about whether these behaviors are happening or not happening. And mostly, I would like to actually ask you to focus on why it's not happening. Think about literally the barrier. What is it? Missing information, missing trash cans. What is preventing these behaviors to happen? Because this is where we really want to help understand the barriers, so that after that we can see how psychologically we can be enabling the overcoming of these barriers. So if you can take 15 minutes, again, to continue on the worksheets. I will tell you in 7-8 minutes to go to the second sheet and think about it. So thank you so much so far. Nope. Can we get... now it is.
No, okay. We have visitors are informed and visitors travel safely and securely. These are very similar, so we have quite the same why and why not. One is maybe kind of philosophical, but individualism. I've personally seen the rise of that. People seem to think that they have the right to do whatever they want. A lot of misinformation and stereotypes. And also AI is creating misinformation and unrealistic expectations. And in quotations, too many choices. It's not maybe the fault that there are too many choices, but people don't know how to navigate through it to find the best option for them. And rush. People are on a tight time schedule many times, and they rush to make their decisions, and that leads to accidents and things like that. But of course, a big thing is money. Traveling to the Arctic is not cheap in any way, and often that leads also to the wrong choices.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Next
we'll
table.
go to this table if you have anything to comment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We think, as all mentioned, that the lack of knowledge is a problem, and how we have a structure to provide correct information. So, and we think like the destination companies and also local authorities have a responsibility there. So, and then it's also about from our side in booking procedures and everything. If we are not good enough to inform, then we cannot expect them to have the information either. And then we also have people coming by their own or booking with companies that doesn't care or this doesn't matter. That is also a challenge. Many places that you have companies that they are only there for the money. They don't care, and they don't have the either focus or capacity to wanting to do something with this. So yeah, so that was I think that was and also we also talking about providing information to third parties. So making sure that resellers and travel agencies that we work with also are educated in the same matter. So the guests who are coming are prepared. So.
Yeah, it's again about the different touch points, so that and the information is being repeated so that it's understood. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we're just continuing writing. For visitors respecting the fellow human beings, we think it might be out of a lack of awareness and knowledge, and that they don't understand the consequences that their action takes. the cultural differences, and that here in the Arctic we are very equal. And this equality that we have between each other, it's a bridge to overcome, because many of our visitors, they have a different role model. That it's, I mean, as Susanne said, that she, as the hotel owner, she was opening the door for a group, and that's not normal for them.
Very often.
Yeah, exactly, and that's natural from us on our way of hospitality. And we do think that we can overbridge it for the guest that has a curiosity and they have a willingness to learn, then that will make it a lot easier. To make the visitors buy locally, the second one, we think why not? It's a lack of availability and the lack of showing the value of the local produced products, that we need to be proud and to storytell about it. And yes, that the storytelling will make them buy it, the face and the name of the producer, and that it's a clear one concept and under the identity. You don't need to have a mix-up with anything whatsoever in your little shop. You can just have one thing that you're really good at.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, let's go to this table.
So for the one of visitors are informed regarding the accessibility. We talk about lack of awareness that they mentioned in the back, but also in this case, and maybe others, is lack of companies they don't understand the opportunity of the business that they are missing, but not doing certain things for the visitors. And then in general, with the visitors are informed, what we find is that a lot of times it's how to reach the information for visitors to know what exactly is the right to roam, how to treat wild animals or working animals, and how to understand, and the difference between the cultures, like she was mentioning right now. And then we also put social media is one of the problems, but also social media is also one of the why yes, because there's many social media about do this, it's going to be fun, and other ones are, I went here and I did this and it was the best thing. So it can work for us and against us. And then for the visitors minimize climate change, we wrote a why yes, which is younger generations are more ecologically conscious and tend to pay attention more to what they do and also travel in a more conscious way, like trains and such. But then also on the why nots. For example, the price of renting clothes instead of buying it, because sometimes it's more expensive to rent it, but also not knowing that it's possible to rent it when they're preparing their trips, or in some cases it's free, that they give away the rental clothes if you buy certain kind of products. Maybe they don't know it. And travel agencies, I think they mentioned them also here, they also give limited offers to the customers, so they don't know they can stay longer, they don't know they can do better tours, they don't have that information because their local travel agency, maybe they don't do it because they want to maximize their gains, and maybe the travel agencies also don't know that they can offer better things. And then, for example, they're using too much wood, or in general, abusing of nature and stuff. We wrote, because it's new, because it's fun, and it's free. So they abuse the amount of wood they use, but also abuse the right to roam, because for them it's just a novelty and like a toy.
Yeah, wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, next table.
Hello.
Yeah, about the visitors' respect fellow human beings, we didn't get that many why not. So basically the idea is that there's lack of information and knowledge a lot. But other thing what we talked about is the lack of will to adapt to local culture, because it's so far from their own culture. And the example was that when you are living in a kind of class society and you are in a high class, why would you want to be kind of a working class when you travel to Finland or other Nordics? So that's kind of an example of that. And the another topic, visitors buy locally. We have more things here, so our guests don't know what's local. and the local products are not marked clearly. It's not easy to find local companies and experiences among hundreds of options. They don't know who to ask or who to trust when they ask someone. Also saving money, and a funny example of this is that many UK families are bringing their own box of wine with them when they are traveling, for example, to Rovaniemi or Levi area, because it's too expensive to buy wine in Finland, in Alko, and they are basically saving about 10 euros and then they are buying the holiday of thousands of euros. So it's a bit funny even. Yeah, and the last thing, that we don't have the right offering what guests want to buy, and this is with the question mark.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful.
I'm back.
So, visitors protecting Arctic nature, I'm not going to repeat all of those that mentioned already, but why not? Also related to poor planning, infrastructure that leads to financing and resourcing. There's also lack of knowledge and country, nationality segmentation. Why would they do that? Out of respect, feeling better, acting good, compensation. New generations have better education about these things. Mm-hmm. And in the end, if we think about the Arctic as a destination, the segment, the customer segment is higher paying customers. So they have the knowledge already about protecting the nature. And then we mentioned about the voluntary or even paid camps for regenerative work as a solution. Then visitors traveling safely and securely, they have a lot of assumptions. There's even too much information to pick on. There's also the segmentation of the language barriers and customer knowledge. They have freedom to do or free will to do things, and they are stupid in a way. So that's kind of a fact we can't help too much on. They are on a holiday mode, and of course there's the weather conditions that we can't really do much about. Mm-hmm. And why yes, we have to limit the choices for them, give them good instructions, use locals, local guides for the programs, do more planning and risk management. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's great.
Okay. A few more tables. Thank you.
Okay, so I went one step ahead, but now we go one step back. We come up with one more ideal behavior. So it
Wonderful.
was choose responsible and established activity providers. And why they don't do it is because they haven't done the proper research. But for those who do the right choices, they have probably done the right research. So yes, simple explanation. And we also have this visitors minimize climate impact. So let's see if we had something new here. Yeah, we were talking about that all our suppliers don't know what the right choices are. Mm. Some are really good at to know how to do the right things, but if the companies don't know, then it's difficult to serve the right kind of choices for the visitors to do. Or if sometimes they shouldn't even have a choice because this is the right thing to do.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and also, as you said, that when people arrive to a place, about these single-use items, don't even provide them with it. Provide them with like several use, like a bottle they can use, and then they will have it during the whole traveling, so they can make the right choices from the beginning.
Brilliant.
You have something to add?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have 3 more groups to go.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We were circling around with the norms of visitor minimize climate impact and visitors protect the Arctic nature. And we found out that there was lots of similarities on why nots and why yes. And general theme on why not was the lack of information, lack of shared understanding, lack of commitment, and lack of coordination. And those were like big headlines. Also handling about the guests, but also handling about the suppliers and the regions. And then why yes, visitors are more and more aware of the results of their actions, and they want to do more sustainable choices. Local guides are well aware of how the things should be done so it's sustainable. And one key thing is that why yes, when someone is enabling the services in place, making it easy for the guests, that's always helping out to people do the way that we wish them to do. That's in the nutshell. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we had protect the Arctic nature, and we focused on the why nots, and we wrote down there might be some cultural differences, I mean, in the behavior. So people behave different in different cultures, of course, and then that could be something you have to consider. And it's only me thinking. I am the one taking pictures of the local thing, or I'm petting the reindeer or taking the extra path. But if it's only me, it probably is a lot of other people do the same, so they don't see the consequence of their actions. Too much information. We give the information because we repeat what we should say and give the information, but it's on the wrong time, and people who've never driven a snowmobile might be just focusing on sitting on a big motor and afraid of everything else, but we keep on saying, oh, you don't do this, and this is the brake, and you... And language barrier. People are afraid of saying that they don't understand, and they think they understand but don't. So we thought you should split the information for the right time, and then keep it simple. And also, should I do the other one?
Yeah.
Buy local. As someone, Sophie, I think it was, said before, the shops are closed. I mean, in Torne Valley in July, shops are open, but in April, not so many shops are open for local. And the prices. We saw yesterday the Sami things were quite expensive, and, well, you can't choose a normal belt before the other belts, of course, but prices are a little bit higher on the locals. Hard to find. It's the lack of information that it is a local product to choose from. And lack of local stores. Some places are quite small, so there are not so much local to choose from. Anything else? No?
Thank you. And the last table.
But not least.
Thank you.
So we had climate impact and the respect for fellow human beings. And basically we kind of agree what everybody's been saying. So not much to add there. But something we talked about for climate impact is kind of the visitors don't always have time to actually take the longer trips and staying longer. That's also a privilege when you travel. And we are located in a kind of remote area compared to other places in the world. We also talked a lot about information fatigue, because obviously we can give a lot of information, but people get so much information from so many places. So that kind of ends up in a lack of care. Like, why should I listen, and why should I care, and does anybody do, So people are kind of fatigued, I think, and just want to relax, and that's kind of a root to many of these issues.
Wonderful. fantastic, a lot of barriers, but the good news is that when we are breaking it into these barriers, we have the tools to think and keep ourselves busy during the summer months to come up with the possible paths to overcome them. Many of these are psychological, some are infrastructure, but how do we, obviously we can't expect that there will be a big investment in fixing the roads, but having in mind that we understand this is a barrier and it leads to unsafe experiences, how do we actually communicate that at the right moment so that we can minimize? There's no right and wrong. There are small paths, small steps that we need to be making. And all of these are really fantastic ideas that we now as a next step will be digesting. And as a next step, we will continue engaging you in how you can integrate that in how you communicate, in how you design the experiences, how the destinations are able to also take their part in advance to communicate, how you can also communicate with your partner, the outbound operators, but at the same time, how do we get to those OTAs? Someone mentioned Get Your Guide and Booking.com. So there are ways that we can do that, and so this is our homework. We were thinking of first just taking pictures of these, but the ideas were so good. I wanted to, the way I remember and it stays with me is really by typing. So it's been really fantastic and really great ideas. This was our part for today. I personally am really thankful for everyone's engagement and rolling up the sleeves. I really appreciate the comment of saying, "Oh, that's so powerful," and it is really in our hands because it is our place and it is where we want to stay and where we want to keep the. Previous slide, but anyway. So I will pass it back to Nina and Alexia. We will be in touch. These materials will be provided on Basecamp. I think they will be sharing. So everything will be available to you so that you can get to it whenever you're ready. The energy has been super good. We know that tomorrow there are tons of emails that you need to tackle and you may be forgetting these, but we will be reminding you and gently nudging you towards starting to incorporate this. So big thank you, and thank you, Martina, for being a partner in crime.